It's a big park. It's hard to get a home run there.
All right, careful. Do you guys have a favorite park other than AT&T to play in?
I always liked Yankee Stadium. The old one. The new one's a monstrosity. It's just too much money into it. Everything's white marble. It's ridiculous.
Buster?
Like Coors Field, as the ball flies. Arizona's pretty good too.
Question right here.
This question is for Buster. I was wondering, how do you feel about Scott Cousins?
Next question. Jesus.
Next question!
First, I just want to say, love the franchise. Best part was Huff's credit card being used, by the way. But bigger question is, obviously, looking forward to hopefully a big season this year. Arizona is one of the contenders based on what everybody else says, but I'd like to get your guys' opinion on that in the league. Who else is going to compete for the NL championship this year besides you guys, obviously?
Here, Christina.
Can we get this one? Well, none of us in here are in the future of making business. Nobody really knows. I mean, you get all these guys on ESPN, give you all the stats and all their guesses. I mean, really, you're never going to know until the end of the season. Let's really be honest. But we got a team that we know can compete, and always said that the goal is to get to the playoffs, and then you get in the playoffs, and then you never know what's going to happen.
The lady with the... Mom, I do not want to leave.
Hi, I just want to ask Tim if you would be willing to sign my baseball. I've been many years I've been trying to get your autograph. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to stop the autograph.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, I'm sorry, there's no autographs at this stage. The autographs are in the
Question?
You can ask another question.
Amici reported yesterday you're going to maybe cut your hair. But you on that?
I'm not making any drastic changes.
No, honey, don't
maybe
do
a
it.
few inches here and there. I'm just getting tired of it hitting me in the face when I pitch.
Aww.
Go ahead.
Okay, questions for Timmy. First of all, CNC are here for you. Just one thing, what is, I know you're like really close to your dad, so is there something that he has either told you or said to you in the past that you like repeat in your head every day before you go on the mound or anything like that? Is there something that he has just kind of instilled in you?
After every season, he's always says the same thing to me every year. The gist of it is, what are you going to do next year to get better? It's like you never get good enough. It's like you're never good enough. Always kind of self-criticizing yourself, but at a young age, you want to take that criticism, in a good way, and have it motivate me the right way as opposed to shying away from it or taking it as a bad thing.
I'm still really happy right now.
I took it on as a challenge.
Let's give another question here. Go ahead.
I know. I'm just waiting for the play ball lunch. Aww. His twins.
Lots of fun. Thank you for asking.
Mr. Saban, I want to thank you for assembling this group. Buster, I wish you well in your recovery. Timmy, you're the man. Huff, how is it refraining from beer?
Was that the question?
You know.
You don't have to answer that.
I don't know if I can even answer that question, honestly.
Maybe I'll expand that question. We know you worked really hard in this offseason, and there was rumors that you were even texting Voci pictures of your abdominal muscles.
Seems I think I texted you that too, did I not? But
I got it.
To quote the great Brian Wilson, I think I did send my shirt off, and most of the team got it. It's underneath the picture said, "You're welcome."
So how did your off-season training regimen go? What did you do this offseason?
It just consisted of Pilates. I got into that in 2010. I never really done that, and it made my body feel great. And then after the whirlwind in 2010, it just never really got into getting back into it. I didn't think that was really why my body felt so good, and I got back into it this year.
Let's see. Let's see.
No, thank you. That's only clubhouse material. No. Beat writers get to see that. Right, isn't that right, Schulman?
All right, where's the microphone at in the crowd? Okay, go ahead.
Big fans of all of you guys. For Buster and for Aubrey, which pitcher gives you the most anxiety as far as, going against them? And Timmy, which hitter in Major League Baseball gives you the most anxiety or difficulty? Yeah.
I'd have to say, the toughest out for me would have to be Todd Helton. I don't think I ever struck him out. I think I've only thrown one pitch by him for a strike, and everything else has either been a walk or a hit. It's like, I can't get him out.
Yes, you can!
He's getting older, so yes.
For me, the most uncomfortable at bat is, was Waldo Jimenez, because he's like 8 feet tall and his arms are coming at you from behind you. And, so I'm glad he's gone now.
I was always Clayton Kershaw. It was pretty tough on me. All right, I'll stop.
We're gonna go over here and get some questions.
Buster and Aubrey, what do you guys think of Brian Terrio with the Giants now?
I have no idea.
Well, he's a champ like us. I won one with St. Louis last year, so he'll fit right in with us.
Cardinals.
Oh.
What for all three of you guys, what's the over-under on the amount of dinner checks Timmy will be picking up?
Oh boy, don't let me get into you right here, Timmy.
I'll gladly pick all of them.
Did you hear that? We're going to quote him on that one. I don't believe it.
I just won't go out to dinner that much.
He finally got a checkbook this offseason. First time he's ever had a checkbook in his life. Yeah, he does have to go out to actually pick it up. We'll get you out of your room one time. Son's free.
We've got another question back there, guys.
Timmy, who's the hardest general manager to deal with?
Sincerely, probably myself. That's a good question. You really can't draw a line in the sand to have any bad relationships, but I'll be honest, there are times that I have one of my assistants call somebody instead of me doing it because it's been a little bit of bad blood in the past, but you try to deal with everybody sincerely.
I got a question for Timmy. How's it dealing with Brian Wilson sometimes, and does he give you any good advice?
Good advice. I think he's got plenty of good advice. I just can't share it with you guys. But yeah, I mean, Brian's full of jokes, and he'll be the first one to tell you that's just who he is, and he's just offbeat and quirky, and he just fits in right with his team. He's one of the misfits. So.
This question's for Buster. How does it feel to be back? It's great to see you. What happened was just, in my opinion, horrid, and that cry when that all happened. How does it feel to be back with everybody?
Feels great. I'm excited. Pitchers and catchers report in about 2 weeks. And, we're all anxious to get going.
I have a question for Tim. I'm looking into getting a French Bulldog. I love them. Should you tell me something about size? Like any advice or anything?
Size great. He's a people person. He's first thing he's going to do when he runs up to you is either jump up on you or roll over onto his back.
Aww.
He's really big in the belly rubs.
Aww.
He's a really good dog. He just handles everybody well, and he's just friendly. And I've heard nothing but good news back from people who have babysat him. And
I'll babysit.
Kept an eye on him when I've been gone.
All right, over here.
Okay. You can drop him at my house.
question for all three of you guys. How many hours are like sacrificed to like work really hard to get to the big leagues? Like what does it take to get to the big leagues?
Did you guys hear that? The question was, what does it take to get to the big leagues?
Well, for me, it was always just enjoy the game. When I was a kid, you know, you play the game because you love it. You know, you didn't care if you go 0 for 4, you go 4 for 4. You couldn't wait to go and get some pizza and just be with your friends and hang out. And that was a big part of it growing up. And you know, you love the game. And as you get older, it turns into a job. And I think in order to get to the big leagues, you got to keep it fun. You got to keep it loose. You know, I've seen so many guys with way more talent than I've had that don't make it because they just put too much pressure on themselves. They'll go out and have fun because it is a game. And sometimes I think kids and even the parents sometimes put too much pressure on their kids to go out and try and shove baseball down their throats. Just go out and have fun with it.
Tim, Buster, was there anything that really stuck out in your development, getting to the big leagues, that you really think helped you make that next step to the majors?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Aubrey said. You know, I think to be successful in whatever you do, you gotta have a passion for what you're doing. You have to enjoy it, and you have to dedicate yourself to it. And I mean, I think he hit the nail on the head when he said you just gotta have fun, and that's the most important thing.
Tim.
Yeah, I mean, you know, growing up, I think it's fun to find someone to look up to and, you know, find an idol, someone to motivate you. And like I've said to you guys, and you guys all know, it's been my dad, and he's been that guy that pushed me from one level to the next. When I said, hey, I don't think I want to do it, you know, he's carried me to the next. And, you know, whether, you know, my reasoning's lack of size or, you know, not believing in myself, he always helped me believe in myself. And, you know, that's been with me ever since I was a kid, all through college.
That brings up an interesting question. Is there... Ladies, he appreciates the adulation. If you could just be quiet while the other guys are answering, we would all appreciate it. Is there a baseball player that you guys looked up to growing up?
You were Nolan Ryan, right?
I was a big Nolan Ryan fan. I grew up in Texas, and ironically, winning there in Texas, the ballpark, I actually against them. And I had an ample opportunity to meet Nolan Ryan. He's around the field the whole time. And then he was just that kind of guy that I was so starstruck by him that I couldn't even work up the nerve to go say hi to him.
Oh. Buster, what about you?
Yeah, growing up in Georgia, I was a big Braves fan. Not anymore. I hated that we ended Bobby Cox's career, but it was all right. Yeah. I mean, I liked all the pitchers actually. I liked Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz. They were so good for so long. It was an easy team to root for.
Yeah, I looked up to guys on the Mariners, guys like Tino Martinez, Edgar Martinez, like the list goes on. You know, Randy Johnson played there. I got a chance to play with him now, or a few years ago. So you know, getting a chance to look up to these guys and then finally meet them, you know, being at the same level as them, you know, kind of it's like a pinch yourself kind of situation, hair raising, and then you're just like, hey, I'm actually here. I deserve to be here, and you know, I'm one of their peers now.
Now, Brian, I see you sitting over there just kind of watching over the guys. Did you always want to be a GM? Did you always want to be, you know, the position you are now at the Giants?
You know, interesting enough, I started as a college coach before I went with the Yankees as a scout, and I actually thought I was going to be an athletic director, so close.
Did you look up to any athletic directors?
That time, no.
I know that these guys get a bit of an off-season, but I feel like most of your work is maybe done in the off-season. So what's the off-season been like for you?
It's been hectic, but really active, obviously, with our arbitration cases and remaking the team. But what's enjoyable is to think that it's now the first week in February, the work's done, and you're really anxious to get to Arizona and watch these guys compete.
Definitely. You guys excited about Arizona? Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're all looking forward to a great season. Buster, you were hitting the mask a few times this past season before you went down. Have you decided to change the style of mask you wear?
Well, I'm going to try the original mask this spring. See how it goes.
Hold on. Ladies, you could please wait until Buster's done answering his question. We'd appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah, really. Jesus.
So the question was, is Buster going to change his mask at all this year?
I'm going to try the original mask, the two-piece, and just see how it goes. And I mean, hopefully it works out. And if I'm not comfortable with it, you know, I know I can always go back to the hockey mask.
Hey, not only do you guys like play in the best city in the world, but of course you probably live here. So I'm just wondering, like, what's your favorite things to do in the city, like food and like spots to hang out?
Just in case, like maybe we wanted to like meet up with you there one night, maybe.
Places to eat. Yeah, Taco Delicious. I really like that place a lot. They have the carnitas.
He really likes that.
Where else? La Barca on Lombard. Chris is always good because I like steak. And nightlife, I go out. If anywhere, I go to the Ambassador.
Brian, do you have favorite places in the city? He's not paying attention.
He doesn't know where he is right now.
He's distracted.
I'm trying to figure out how the hell I got on the stage with these guys. You need to be talking to them. Nobody wants to talk to me.
I'm trying to include you.
Don't worry about it.
Do you have a favorite dinner spot in the city? No?
I actually do. Frenzy by Night in North Beach.
Aubrey?
I don't really go out that much. Kind of a homebody like Timmy.
Do you have a favorite meal to make at home? Are you the cook?
I grew up in a trailer park. I'm a hamburger helper guy.
Nothing wrong with that. I grew up in Fresno. Same thing here. Buster?
I'm like Huff, just back and forth, home in the park, and don't go out too much.
Aww.
Do you have a favorite meal at home?
He's a homebody now.
Well, with twins is whatever I can eat at this point. So, food.
All right, we have a hand over here. I don't know where the microphone has gone. If we could be so kind as to pass the microphone down.
Out of all your history of playing, what game stands out to you guys the most?
I think that's easy. Game 5 of the World Series.
I agree with Tim. That's a big one. But for me, it's just to get into the playoffs for me. When we clinched against San Diego on the final day, the World Series, you win it, it's such a blur, and you don't really realize what's happening. But when I got to the playoffs the first time in my career, when we clinched against San Diego, that's something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I mean, all of those. I think the one, I agree with both of those, but I think the one for me that really stands out is Game 6 in Philly. Because that was just such a high-intensity game. I can just remember after that last out, just taking a deep breath and just being exhausted. And the way that game started out, it was a little bit shaky, and it was as loud as it's ever been wherever I've played. And for our bullpen to come in and do the job they did, and then get some really big hits, and that one was a lot of fun.
Go ahead.
I want to talk to you, Brian. Brian, I want to talk to you. Have you seen Moneyball? Did you like it? And who plays you in Giants ball?
You know, I haven't read the book and I haven't seen the movie, and the biggest reason why people don't believe me when I say this is that I lived it. You know, I understood what the A's were doing. One of the first things you do after you become an expert on your own organization is watch how everybody else does business. So I think it's great for baseball, but I don't need to read the book and see the movie to know what happened over on the other side of the bed.
Who plays you in the movie?
In the movie? In my movie? It won't be one. It won't be a part. 2X rated.
Don't you love that he runs your team? I think we've got another question over here.
Right here. First of all, you guys are awesome. I love that you guys represent the city of San Francisco. What's your guys' favorite baseball movie?
Favorite baseball movie is Major League. Hands down.
You stole my movie. That's more my age. This is one of the newer baseball movies. I'm a lot older than you.
You guys have VCRs in your trailer?
You're getting better, young squire. I tell you. It's finally developing a personality after these couple of years.
Sandlot for me.
Now, was that your answer before this entire side of the crowd said,
Field of Dreams?
Okay, more questions.
Natural.
I have a question for Tim. I've seen some footage and a photo that you were in Crestfield, Seattle. When are you coming to Candlestick? Seahawks Niners.
Well, first off, that was the first Seahawks game I've ever been to at Westfield, so that was the only reason I went, and also my friends wanted to go. So I am a big Seahawks fan. I want Seattle sports to do well, with the exception of the Mariners.
Oh, honey.
And outside of that, I mean, I wish the Sonics were still there, kind of thing, you know. So
Oh, Timmy.
I would like to go to a Candlestick game. I haven't been around for it, so.
All right, this one's for Brian. What was the most difficult thing about trading Jonathan Sanchez?
I mean,
the most difficult thing about trading Sanchez this offseason?
You grow up with these kids as they come through the minor leagues, and you know every player has a story of their.
Oh, really?
All right, okay. I appreciate that probably all of you are #1 fans. Let's continue with your answer. Sorry.
But to answer the question more fully, with any player you trade, you have history with, and it's not as easy or as businesslike as people think. It's very difficult to trade somebody that's grown up in your own organization.
More questions?
Oh, over here. My question's for Tim. I was wondering how you like your double doubles.
Well, when I was eating them, it was just meat, cheese, bun, ketchup, and mustard. I like them plain. No special sauce. It's just the way I eat my food.
Tim, what other team would you like to play with if you weren't playing with the Giants?
Everybody a heart attack, why don't you?
Tim just told me he only wants to play for the Giants.
You and I have the same thing in common.
Oh yeah?
You know what it is?
No.
I have the same injury that you had.
Oh no, I'm sorry. When did that happen?
Mine 2007 in Auburn, California. And they did the surgery not up there. They did the surgery here. And my foot felt like you know what.
Well, it looks like you're both getting better. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate you making it to Fanfest. Big Buster fan.
Down in front, you're parking it.
More like a comment. I've been holding this in for a whole year. I just want to say thank you guys for the World Series. Tim, you're a stand-up guy. I shook hands with you last year. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to do that. Huff, are you going to bring up the rally? You know what I'm talking about. That's the question. You going to bring up the rally, Thong?
I have to blame these guys over here for writing that. That was supposed to be in the clubhouse, but it got out. But it was a fun thing to do. We got the team loose, and we had a good time in the clubhouse. It wasn't pretty for the players, and hey, you know, that's what made it so funny, because my body at the time wasn't that great, but now it's ripped, as we were talking about earlier.
We still don't want to see it now.
Well, it sounds like you
Touché, Buster.
Touché.
Good question right here.
First off, welcome back, guys. This question's for Brian. As general manager, what was the hardest trade you ever had to make?
Well, that's a good question. I'll tell you a funny story. It's a true story. We were in Colorado, and I believe it was either 98 or 99. My memory's at a loss for what year, but we weren't playing particularly well. And Ned Cleddy, my assistant, was on the road with the team, and I was in my office, and I flipped on the television, and I'm not going to name the player, but we had this player at first base that actually was our 25th man. So I was out of my mind as to how the lineup could end that way, or how we could start this guy at first base. And I got on the phone and started screaming to him, what the hell's going on? How come so-and-so's playing first base? I hung up the phone, and the office phone rang, and a good friend of mine at that time, Doug Melvin, was with the Texas Rangers. And he said, hey, look, I'm in a box with having to do something with Andres Galarraga. I said, Doug, he said, let me tell you something. I'm not letting you off this phone until we make this deal, because I don't know if you're calling because you saw our lineup, but if you saw our lineup, you know why we need Andres. So things happen strangely, and that's one of the more interesting stories.
I got another question for Sabian. How much of a discount or premium do you give a player who has a really bad or good attitude, and just based on the dynamics that they bring to the clubhouse?
You know what? Where that comes into play is that we're constantly talking to the manager or the coaches. And believe it or not, at times, as we acquire a free agent, you'll even talk to your own players or players in other organizations. But, you know, it comes down to talent first. But, I'll say this about this club, and we've got a lot of talent. What really is enjoyable for me to come to work every day is that it doesn't take any talent to hustle or any talent to compete. And I think that's one of the reasons that this organization, or more so this group of players, is so endearing to you folks in the city, is that every night they're out there laying it on the line, and they really love to play the game.
Yeah, I know we appreciate that as fans. All right, they've got a couple more minutes, so a couple more questions. Ladies, do you have a question, or are you just going to tell the guys that you love them? Okay.
Hi, I have a question for y'all. With new players coming in and out every season, how do y'all, as the Giants, build team camaraderie? Are there anything they do in particular at the beginning of the season, or any initiations for new guys coming in, or
any specific Giants icebreakers?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What happened?
Oh my goodness, honey.
I was falling asleep.
She just said, you know, it's business, so there's lots of turnover as far as players are concerned. Is there anything that you guys do to build team camaraderie here in San Francisco?
I mean, not really. I think that's something like we had in 2010. I'm a big believer in team chemistry. It's something that you can't force it. With that team, I walked in that clubhouse that day, the first time I walked into the spring training clubhouse, and I felt so comfortable. I've never felt like that in a clubhouse in my life, and it never stopped the rest of the year. You know, it was the same way last year, but we just were devastated with so many injuries, and it just kind of got down and out in there a little bit. You know, the feeling in 2010, I think we were 7 games out, I think, All-Star break. We were probably playing 500 ball. But that feeling in the clubhouse, we knew we were going to get back. We're going to get to the World Series. We're not the World Series, but at least the playoffs. We just had a good feeling. And everybody in that clubhouse was positive. And you can't really explain it, but it's something you just feel.
Do you guys want to add anything, team chemistry-wise?
Yeah, I mean, you know, as baseball players, you know, we know that guys bounce around and go to other teams, play with like players that we played with. So, you know, we understand when players leave, when they come back. You know, we got obviously Hensley. You know, I knew guys here that played with him when he was first a Giant, and now he's back. So, you know, you just find that common ground where, hey, I was friends with this person, and then you guys just relate. You know, obviously, like you said, it's not one of those things where you can really force it, but we've been fortunate enough to have really good guys on this team that you know, mold themselves into the Giants and, you know, make us better.
Buster said they had really good answers. They took care of them.
I was just wondering how it feels like to have all these people here for you. Like, did you ever think you'd be in this position like 10 years ago when you're like 12, 13?
20, 30 years ago for me, she's kind of taking a shot on me. As the older statesman here, I would answer that question. I think in order to be here as a Major League Baseball player, you have to have a belief in yourself when you're playing through, you know, like I said, when you're younger, you're having fun, but when you start taking it serious in high school, college, you got to have a certain drive and a desire to want to be there and know you're going to be there. And that's what all of us here have. So it's pretty humbling, to be honest with you, sitting up here in front of everybody and talking. I mean, when I was younger, who's going to want to hear me talk, honestly? These guys don't want to hear me talk anyway right now. So It's definitely humbling, and to be able to play with a fan base like this, like I said, I've been in last place for 9 years of my career before I came here, and I've never seen anything like this. This is very, very humbling for me.
Buster, what about you? What's a day like this for you?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's you know, for where all the different places we play, the intensity that you guys bring on a daily, on a nightly basis it's unparalleled. I mean, it doesn't get any better, and we appreciate it so much. It just, you know, it's a long season, and we're in August, and we're dragging a little bit. It makes a big difference to have 40,000 of you guys out there pulling for us every night.
All right, we're going to do 2 more questions, one on this side, and then I'll come over here and get one last one, okay?
I have a question for Timmy. How did it feel when Buster Posey got injured?
Did you miss him? Did you miss Buster, honey?
Obviously, it was sad. I mean, there goes the offense. I can't say that. You know, I think our first concern is, if, you know, is he okay? You know, and then you find out the severity of the injury, and then it's, you know, how's he going to come back from this? How are we going to come together after this? Because obviously you see how pivotal, you know, Buster is to our lineup and our defense, and you know, have someone like that go down at that time of the year just, you know, is crushing. So it's one of those things where you gotta, you know, you tear over it for a little bit, and you get over it and move on to the next day. You know, you just hope for the best, and you know, try to help him get through it the best you can.
All right, last question. I'm going to pass it back here. Young lady, this is going to you.
Should text.
Pass back. Hi, this is for Tim. As a pitcher, you obviously have to be mentally tough, but when you're on the mound, is there anything that distracts you?
That distracts me. I think the biggest distraction would be base runners. For me, I can never really hold them. That's been something I've been trying to work on for a long time. But outside of that, when I'm on that mound, it's like in between those 2 white lines, it's another world and another environment. So, you know, there isn't really much distraction going on in my brain.
All right, well,
easily distracted, honey.
the time has come. Gonna send these guys off to their next station. So, as we've done for the last 2 sections here, the Q&A, Amici's Pizzeria stage, and it's worked really well.